You guys ready to get into this?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You're one with the Zen?
Yes.
All right. We want to start this video with a disclaimer. We are not trashing the people at Kinetic Game, and we're not trashing the effort it takes to make a game. Studio Blue recognizes that a lot of work goes into making a video game, and that it has lots of issues that you have to overcome constantly. Having said that, tonight we're going to talk about some issues with Phasmophobia. I've brought Fox on here because Fox is one of the avid Phasmophobia players who plays with us regularly. Recently, Phasmophobia released an update. It's actually a very comprehensive update. The changelog is extremely big. And they talk about things like, let's see, they completely revamped the game lobby. They added in some new levels, some quality of life updates. Earlier this week, Fox, myself, and Boo Boo jumped in to try it, playing it in VR. And that's when we came across the issue. Fox, I'm gonna let you start because I believe you have a prepared bullet list.
Okay. All right. As Steele said, I was an avid Phasmophobia player. I really loved the game. I loved the ambiance of the game. I loved how it played. I loved how it played on desktop. I loved how it played in VR, but I really loved the experience in VR because it's just that much more immersive and everything. So when the updates were rolling out, I was actually pretty excited to see some of these, new changes and new lobby that they were coming out with, and some of the quality of life things, the toggle hold stuff, all of that kind of stuff. I was really excited for that. However, that only really works if it works. Like, I got in there, and the first thing I noticed was that the physics were off for VR. Like, they've got balloons and stuff scattered on the ground. You used to be able to go and kick them. That used to be one of my favorite things, to just, run around and just kick the freaking balloons all over the place, because it was fun. It was dorky, easily amused, fun. First thing, the balloons don't move at all. I couldn't get through the EULA because the slider would barely go up and down. And these are not unique to me. I actually went on their boards and I started looking at the community discussions and things like that. Right off the top, we first opened the thing, at least 3 out of like the 15 or so bulleted points on there are VR is unplayable.
To clarify, if I may, when you're saying you can't click on the ULA, you mean the little hotkey area that you would point your little pointer at and click in order to do was off, so that you didn't even know where you're supposed to click.
Correct. The way it worked was the accept or reject for the EULA was grayed out.
Mm-hmm.
You could not select either one.
Mm-hmm.
There was a slider on the side of the text for the EULA to make sure that the player has at least scrolled through to click accept.
Which is normal for most software.
Normal for most software. Expected at this point in this day and age. Okay, cool. The problem is if your slider doesn't work, you can't get the accept or reject to light up. It took me 10 minutes, guys. 10 minutes to get that done. That's nuts. Infuriating is what it was. Infuriating. And I just have a whole list of problems that came up with this. I loved this game. Unfortunately, until they get their act together, I'm going to have to put it down. I can't play this right now. I can't actually play this game that I love so much. And that's sad.
It's the VR port, Kuda Dude. Yes, it's the VR version of Phasmophobia that is the issue.
That's not even talking about once we got into the match. The screen tear was so bad that our characters weren't even, our avatars weren't even updating properly. There were times where our lower body and our upper body would be in 2 different places. The screen tear
I'm sorry.
was so bad. If you know in VR, you know what we're talking about. You put your hand in front of your face, it looks like it's going through water. Turning was a chore. You actually would feel like you're getting physically ill just by physically snap turning, and snap turning is comfort options. It's meant to make it easy. We ended up leaving one level because it was raining, thinking, hey, this is a new level. It's a large map. It's raining. Maybe things will be okay if we go on a small map. We went on the smallest map, Tanglewood Estates, on a clear sky. It was still just as bad. It was so bad that when we quit that match, Boo Boo, if I may say so, Boo Boo in the audience, who does not get sickness, started getting sickness because of what happened, Fox?
Because when we went to actually close the truck, this is when I saw Steele's lower half on that side of the truck and his upper half over here. So we just closed the truck, going back to the lobby. And what happened is I was getting to the point I was so sick I had to close my eyes. But what was happening was the truck, the image of the truck was here. And then I had a loading screen, a black loading screen loading. So I was getting a very, very rapid flash of white and then black very, very quickly. It made me absolutely sick to the point I had to take my headset off. I could not actually get through it.
Wow.
Like if I were sensitive, if I were light sensitive to having like a seizures or something like that, epilepsy, it would have. I feel sorry for anybody who had to go through that. That has
okay.
That
that's a problem. I'm going to have to interrupt right there. This is Kinetic Games, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Kinetic
Okay,
Games.
Kinetic Games. You got to do something about that. You're triggering people's epilepsy with that. You better address that. You're going to get sued.
Yeah, it's not like during the game where they have the epileptic seizure warning and it's strobe lights. That was a bug that was causing that. And to clarify, Boo Boo said he didn't get or feel sick, so he just went ahead and knocked out. But Boo Boo also experienced a game-breaking bug. So good. Thank you for clarifying that, Boo Boo. Now, here's the thing, guys, and this is what the forum topic is actually about, because we're not here just to bitch about Phasmophobia and Kinetic Games. The desktop players, while they are having a ton of issues with this update, are not having nearly the problem that the VR players are having. Phasmophobia was initially a VR/desktop game with a heavy emphasis on VR players being able to play with desktop players and a very immersive VR experience. As Fox said, the game was amazing in VR. That's why we would play it in VR. The atmosphere is incredible. It is one of the few games that has ever made me scream. That's how good Phasmo in VR used to be. Not so much now.
One of the topics on the discussion board, the community board, one of the details under VR is unplayable is one person said, do they even send VR through QA anymore? That is how bad this is.
Well, considering that they had that flashing bug, I seriously doubt it. That absolutely should not ever have gotten through QA.
It should not.
It's terrible.
I made this statement when it was just the three of us, and I'm going to say it now. As a game developer myself, I was embarrassed for this. I'm not even on the Kinetic team. I'm not really a part of the Phasmophobia Discord or the Phasmophobia community. I play the game with my friends because I love ghost hunting and I love being scared. I love VR horror. I'm embarrassed for Kinetic because, as Fox said, it looks like this did not go through QA. So right now, and this is the actual crux of the forum, it looks like Kinetic and Phasmophobia has abandoned its VR players and is focusing just on desktop. If that's the case, why is it a VR game?
Yep. Why?
Mm-hmm. If that this is something that you said right after we had our experience. If they are just going to abandon their VR players, which first of all, that just infuriates me, you know, because your VR is your VR users are part of your community. You're just abandoning them. But also, if they're not going to do that kind of support, just say so. You're like, hey, we're not going to be updating VR anymore. At least give that part of your community some closure so we can put this to rest and let it be. Don't give us this, half-assed bullshit. Oh, well, this is an update. We'll get all the bugs fixed. Da, 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 da. None of this should have made it to a consumer. I'm sorry. All right. If this were a brand new game and I just, I just walked into it, I literally would have asked for my money back immediately.
The 2-hour
There
refund.
Just immediately.
Yeah.
Give me back my money. I loved this game so bad. It breaks my heart, guys. I am restraining lots and lots of curse words. It breaks my heart. That's what I'm gonna say.
I understand that they used assets in this new lobby that they built that don't go with the ambiance or level that they're trying to go for the game. I understand that some of the cases look like stuff in a high-end jewelry store rather than in a garage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I have not logged into Phasmo in like 6 or 8 months. I guess it's been a long time. I don't know what the new lobby looks like. I couldn't care less. But as a developer, I think it's rather shameful that you're not even going to try to pull in assets that go with the look and feel of your game.
I understand that they're trying to have unique assets that they're creating. Kinetic Games is trying to create their own assets. I understand that. The original Phasmophobia was not an asset flip, but it almost exclusively used assets from the Unity asset store that were modified to be theirs. So, like I said, not an asset flip. But now they're trying to have brand new assets that are being created totally in-house, and the hybrid doesn't work. Also, the game was grungy. You are literally amateur ghost hunters working for this guy. Welcome back. I have some jobs for you. So that the following night, a cleansing team can come in. It doesn't feel like that. They even have this thing called the ghost.os//t. That's cool, but is that what it's supposed to be? Are we now an organization? Is that what it's supposed to be? Well, it's still got this half grunge, half polished professional look. Are we going to professional or what? So it's losing its identity insofar as its own narrative goes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It feels very, very disjointed. It really does feel like the merger between like a corporation and somebody, playing, a free concert out of their parents' garage.
Yeah.
I liked the grunge feel, and you could accomplish that. You could accomplish that and give us those cases and things. It could have just been shelves on the wall, It could, and the new interface where you can buy all of your gear could have been a TV up on the wall that kind of flashes and has a little bit of sparks occasionally, and give it that kind of feel. But like, this new update really feels like a clash of two worlds, and I'm with Steel. It has an identity crisis. It really does. And I can't, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
So the first issue, the teachable moment, we have 3 of them. The first one is, if you're going to abandon a port of your game, just straight up do it. But if you're going to say, well, this is dual port, this is going to be desktop and VR, this is going to be Windows and PlayStation, whatever, you need to make sure that both are QA'd properly from start to finish. If you don't have the hardware because you're a small independent studio, contract out parts of your community. Invite people to a small closed beta. Shit, Kinetic, if you had asked the Studio Blue community to do some QA, not paid QA, just straight up played your game in VR and given you a bug list before you pushed to production, we would have done that. Happily. Point 2, don't let your game have an identity crisis. What is your narrative? What are you trying to accomplish with the look and feel of your game? All you developers out there, I know sometimes you got to mix assets because of budget. I get that. That's when you take an asset, you bring it into Blender, you take the texture, bring it into Photoshop, you change it a bit so it looks more like what your look and feel is. Because right now it looks like Phasmophobia has been taken over by a corporation, which is kind of funny, considering that Kinetic, it was not the original developers. Then there's the third issue, and this one's a little bit more under the hood. So if you're from Kinetic and you're watching this, we caught on to this. One of the things on the roadmap is redoing the rendering pipeline. That's good that you're doing this. However, a lot of the issues that Phasmophobia is having is because when this game was originally designed, it was its original self. It was, you know, the grungy place. You go in and there'd be these blinking ghosts, and it had sort of an amateurish but wholesome feel to it. But the game was designed that way from the ground up. From the beginning, the game was designed to kind of have just that, you know, you can go through Tanglewood and sometimes the asylum might be a bit of a load time. The game was designed to be that way. And I don't mean from a narrative. I don't mean from an asset. I mean from the base code of the game. Now you're trying to make it different. And you're piling all these changes on. And it's very obvious that you're trying to change the foundation of the game on both a narrative, an asset, and a code level. And it's not working. What you should have done, what we are saying all you developers out there should do, if you're going to change your game that much, take your old game, put it to the side, call it Classic, Phasmophobia Classic, and then rebuild the new product from the ground up. Not hot fixing, not patching your current property, but rebuild it. Yes, it's going to take time. You may have people in the community who are going, why are you focusing on this instead of supporting the product we have? You release it, give a PR release, a press release, and you say, well guys, we wanted to take this in a new direction and build the game the way we wanted it from the beginning, but didn't have the budget to do so. This old game, Phasmophobia Classic, is now going to be like $5 on Steam. You know, here's a coupon code if you already own it to get, you know, off on the new Phasmophobia. Here you go. Do not try to patch your game to change your technology that much. It never works. And that's where we're at. So all you
that's where we're at.
So all you developers out there, don't do what Kinetic did.
Yep.
The original Phasmophobia, the one we started playing about 2 and some change years ago, was an amazing game. I want to play that. I do want to play what Phasmophobia will become, whether it be on desktop or VR. The vision is good, but trying to transition what was then to what it's going to be it looks like you just don't care. Hell, it even looks lazy. And I know you guys aren't lazy, you're working your ass off. So please, learn from this. Don't do it again.
Yeah.
What do you all think? Whether you're watching this live or VOD, let us know in the comments. Let us know your thoughts. Are we wrong? Are we out of line? Are we on target? Will this change the way you do your games? We want to know your thoughts. And if we can all learn from Kinetic's mistake, that maybe the next game we all make will be what it's intended to be from the very beginning. All right. Well, if you like what you saw, leave a smack down the like button below, subscribe to our channel, consider supporting us on Patreon, connect with us over social media, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you next time.
Bye guys. Take it easy.